When we allow life to reveal itself to us, we live in the present moment, knowing that we are exactly where we're supposed to be. Unfortunately, a lot of people jump too far forward. In their desire to reach their final destination, they forget about the journey. But this is where the magic lies. Unfortunately, life and comfort don't coexist. In today's world, nothing is permanent, and at any moment, life could throw you a curveball that could change the game. When you trust the process, you accept and have faith in the unknown. You step outside of your comfort zone and allow life to guide you along your journey. Let go of fear and stop trying to control your life. As your faith is strengthened, you will find that there's no longer the need to have a sense of control, that things will flow as they will, and that you will flow with them to your great delight and benefit. Are you ready to believe in yourself and trust the process? Fear can play a large role. A lot of people don't like to trust the process because they fear that it's going to lead them down a path that they don't want. If they don't see results fast enough, they get discouraged and give up altogether. People look too far forward and obsess about the end result. But what about the small milestones that you need to take in order to reach your final destination? Be resilient. When faced with adversity, it can be difficult to trust the process. Thoughts of "why me" may surface, causing you to doubt your ability to move forward. This is the moment at which you need to thought stop. Why not you? Life happens to all of us, and it's our responsibility to either rise above our circumstances or give up. If you believe that everything is in your control, drop that story now. Change is the only constant. Resilient people surrender to uncertainty. They understand that we have very little control over what happens in life, and by adopting this mindset, they have trust in the process. Embrace the unknown. Humans dislike ambiguity of any kind. Anything that doesn't feel safe, stable, and comfortable feels dangerous. The fact of the matter is that we don't know what life will throw us. But if we embrace the unknown and get comfortable being uncomfortable, we'll be better prepared for anything. There are no guarantees in life. Don't predict the future. Rather, focus on what you can control, which is the present moment. When you do so, you'll be creating your life moment by moment, with zero attachments to what could be. When in doubt, focus on your purpose. Trusting the process is about accepting that hardships will happen along your journey to success, but having confidence that every lesson is bringing you one step closer to fulfilling your purpose in life. Whether you want to believe it or not, failure is a good thing. It is proof that you are trying. When you commit to being persistent and carrying on despite the odds, the universe will reward you. I encourage you to adopt a positive mindset and find ways to appreciate every experience, both good and bad, that is bringing you one step closer to embodying your purpose. In the words of Andrea Dijkstra, in order to love who you are, you cannot hate the experiences that shaped you. Practice gratitude. Our perspective on life dictates the thoughts that we feel and the decisions that we make. The other day, I found myself dwelling upon regrets, which left me feeling depleted and anxious. As a result, I wasn't able to focus on the good that I was creating in the present moment. It only took me a minute to snap out of my ruminative thoughts when I found out that my dear friend had just lost her dad to cancer. At that moment, I found perspective and felt a deep sense of gratitude for my life. It allowed me to stop dwelling on what I couldn't change and to remember how blessed I am. Feeling grateful has been associated with less frequent negative emotions and thoughts, more frequent positive emotions and thoughts, greater meaning in life, more positive coping, a greater appreciation of life. Life is so short. If you are fortunate enough to have freedom and safety, be grateful and conscious of when you slip off track and let your inner critic get the best of you. Once you trust the process, your path in life becomes clear. Life is tough, but so are you, darling. When you learn to trust the process and have gratitude for how far you've come, you get massively rewarded. Why are you trying to go anywhere else other than where you currently are? Learn to fall in love with the here and now, knowing that life is going to give you exactly what you need if you're brave enough to ask for it. In the words of Robert II, trust the process. You'll discover a lot about yourself through hardship. Life is filled with enough anxiety, and there's no reason to add to that by worrying even more. By letting go, you learn to be grateful for what you already have and take it from there. You learn contentment and bliss from even when you're not yet where you want. While difficult, it is one of the most life-changing things you can do for your life. No matter how much you try, you can never control the outcome of your life. However, you can choose to trust and let it go. In letting go, you take yourself much closer to exactly where you're meant to be, whether it's your goals, your life purpose, or something you never expected.
Nothing just happens. Everything you have been through, good and bad. I want you to think about the things in your life that seemingly make no sense. Some of them were painful, some of them were hard to bear. Some of them you're going through right now are very frightening because you have uncertainty and apprehension and anxiety about what's going to happen out of this. And I want you to bathe your soul with these words. Nothing just happens. There's something about going through death and loss and pain and misfortune and adversity. There's something about going through things that don't seem fair to you, that once you go through them, you need to make sense of the madness in your life. Since you can't change what happened and you can't alter what you've been through, at least you need to be able to think that there's some greater good that's going to come out of it. It's what they call bringing closure.
But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down and you feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. And fear comes in. You know the fear that you have as soon as you walk into the doors of your house. Maybe there's a broken home. Maybe you have doubt in your life. Maybe you don't know for sure what's going to be happening in the future and it scares you. Maybe you're worried about what people think of you, what people say about you. Just that fear paralyzes you. And I just want to ask you today, do you think you have hope?
That's rough. How people look at you, how they respond to you. It's very hard. It's humiliating. Here's what I discovered that happens to you in life, that you will go through things, and while you're going through them, you can't understand why it's happening to you. But after you go through it, you get back and you look at it and you say, oh, now I understand why I needed that lesson. I couldn't understand it then. But after I got through it, then I saw that that was preparing me for bigger and better things.
Let me ask you one thing. If you went through your life full of pain, full of tears, and at the end of your life, you actually saved somebody's life, is your life worth living? Is the pain worth someone's life if you could actually save somebody?
Every difficulty is growing you up. Every painful time, even though you don't like it, it's developing something in you that can only be developed in the tough times. The key is what we do in our times of pain.
And if you look carefully at my successes are made out of the ingredients of my struggles. My struggles are the pathway that led me into my success. No thing in your life just happened. No thing in your life just happened.
You can come out defeated, giving up on your dreams, or you can come out with a new passion, a new fire, excited about the new opportunities in front of you. All of us experience pain. My challenge, don't just go through it, grow through it. That pain is not there to stop you, it's there to prepare you, to increase you, to develop you. Nothing is a coincidence.
You might be going through a season of the absence of a thing that you legitimately need. You might have to go without what your neighbors have, but it's not over. Sometimes you have to go through something to find out who you really are, to find out that you can do more than you thought you could do. If I look around me, I see circumstances. If I look in me, I see hope. If you've been looking at some things that's been discouraging you, shut your eyes to what you see. The power that's going to deliver you is coming from the inside. I just want to stop and thank God that He allowed me to go through my changes in the darkness. I'm better. I'm better than I was when I went down. I'm better for it. I didn't like it, but I'm better for it. You see, I was planted in a dark place, but I'm better for it. Every time you go through something dark, remember you've been planted, not been buried, and when you come up, touch somebody and tell them I'm coming up.
I've been wanting to be on TV since I was 10 years old. You know how old I was before I got on TV? 38. 28 years after I wrote it on the paper, I want to be on TV. It took me 28 years to get on TV. But it happened at an appointed time. I just never gave up the faith. I kept going because I didn't know how to quit. Because I know if I quit, it cannot happen. But if you stay with it, you have no idea what can happen for you. You can't quit, man. You got to stay with it. Somebody having it way harder than you, and they didn't give up.
Just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean God is not working. It's just a matter of time before your appointing shows up. Too often we have the anointing, but we get discouraged by the process. We don't like when we're not making progress, not being treated right. When you're tempted to give up, you have to remind yourself it's all a part of the process. Don't run away from the process. The process is not working against you, it's working for you. It's getting you prepared. Don't let disappointments talk you out of it. Don't let delays convince you it's not going to happen. You've come too far to stop now. Keep your joy in tough times. When life throws you a curve, it's taking longer than you thought, remind yourself it's only temporary. Don't fall into self-pity. Keep looking forward. The joy is coming. The dream is coming. The breakthrough is on the way. Don't get discouraged thinking that you're falling behind. I should be much further ahead. My friends, my colleagues, they've all passed me up. Don't worry, your time is coming. Your environment doesn't determine your destiny. Don't quit being your best because you're not where you thought you would be. They got married, you're still single. They're in the new place, you're still in the old one. Keep doing the right thing. Your appointing is coming. You're going to come to the place where God says, all right, you're prepared. You've done your part, now let me do my part. Let me propel you into your purpose.
You have trouble being resilient because you think everything works like laptops, like computers, and you try thing after thing after thing because you think that trying something for a little while ought to bring you a big return. It does not work like that. Some stuff takes time. Greatness takes time.
Will there be some times that you want to give up? Yes. When you get into a tight spot and everything goes against you until it seems that you cannot hold on for a minute longer, never give up then, for that is just the place and time that the tide will turn. Never give up then. And that is so important. When you're working on doing the things you want to do and fulfilling your dream and things happen, there are times when your energy feels so depleted that you want to give up, that it looks just totally impossible. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, don't give up then. That's when you've got to fall forward, when life is kicking dirt in your face. Don't give up then. That's when most people turn back.
I'm a college dropout. I was homeless, lived in a car for 3 years. I've lost every single thing I had, family included. I've been written off so many times. But today, the person that you sitting in front of you is a process. I want to talk to you for a moment about the process. Everything that's happening to you is God is processing. And if you need to be tough when you get to where you're going, then He gonna toughen you. See, the route you on right now is the route you got to take. You just got to understand you ain't the only one.
Because if you just keep on walking with God, God has a way of making everything all right. But He warns us that the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Now, the term steps implies process. Means it's going to take a while. Because a blessing given too soon is not a blessing at all. I can give my son the car keys now, but had I given it to him when he was 5, it would not have been a blessing at all. He can't handle it. So would I be a good father if I gave him a good thing too soon? Sometimes my goodness is proven by my ability to say not yet. Nobody wants steps. They're not attractive. The only reason we have steps is to get us to a higher level. If there were a way to get upstairs without going upstairs, we would take it. But if you don't have the $60,000, $70,000 it takes to put an elevator in your house, then guess what? You go up the steps. I take them one at a time now. I used to take 2 and 3 at a time. I ran up the steps. I ignored the steps. They were no problem when I was younger. No, went up the steps fast. I ran up them until I tripped on them. Excuse me, step aside, move to the right. I gotta go. I run up the steps until I fell on the steps. And I learned respect for the process. Go through the process. I prayed to abort the process. I prayed to speed it up. I prayed that I wouldn't have to endure some things that He wanted me to endure. I was working on the destination, but He was working on me. If I wanted to really destroy you right now, real fast, real quick, I would give you my life right now and all that goes with it and all the 300 and so employees of my little company. I would give it all to you right now in a flash, and say, there, it's yours, take it. You know why that would be criminal? I didn't give you the struggle and the strife and the experience and the pain that created it. You wouldn't be able to handle it. You wouldn't be able to stand it. It would be murderous to win too soon. And there is something to be respected about process. The process, the little steps that make a mile. It is not the destination. It is the things you learn along the way. It is the people who beguiled you and tricked you that make you wiser. Wisdom is made out of the stupid things you did before you got it. Don't miss it. That process is invaluable to you getting there. Does that mean that you have to be my age before you get there? Absolutely not. But it does mean that you don't go from thinking a thought to producing an idea without pain, no more than a woman goes from having sex to getting up in the morning with a baby in her arms. The gestation period is critical. Gestation creates formation.
I wonder if you're upset about something now that later on you're going to realize it had to happen to get you to your destiny. It wasn't fair, but God used it to connect the dots. You can't see what God is up to, but later on you're going to understand. A disappointment today, a betrayal, you may not see how that works out for your good until years down the road. What's interesting is every time we got close to the end, all of a sudden that piece that I was so sure was a mistake would fit perfectly into place. You may have some pieces in your life that don't make sense. Why did that person walk out of a relationship? By itself, that piece doesn't fit. You have to wait for the other pieces to come together. God is in the process of connecting the dots in your life. Trust Him when the piece doesn't make sense. When God designed the plan for your life, He didn't accidentally put in a wrong piece. He didn't leave something out. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made. Everything is serving His plan. He never said, you're going to understand everything. It's all going to make sense. He said, my ways are not your ways. You have to trust Him when you don't understand. God is working behind the scenes in your life right now. Just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean God is not working. It's just a matter of time before your appointing shows up. Too often we have the anointing, but we get discouraged by the process. We don't like when we're not making progress, not being treated right. When you're tempted to give up, you have to remind yourself it's all a part of the process. Don't run away from the process. The process is not working against you, it's working for you. It's getting you prepared. Don't let disappointments talk you out of it. Don't let delays convince you it's not going to happen. You've come too far to stop now. Keep your joy in tough times. When life throws you a curve, it's taking longer than you thought, remind yourself it's only temporary. Don't fall into self-pity. Keep looking forward. The joy is coming. The dream is coming. The breakthrough is on the way. Don't get discouraged thinking that you're falling behind. I should be much further ahead. My friends, my colleagues, they've all passed me up. Don't worry, your time is coming. God knows how to make up for lost time. He can propel you where you could not go on your own. Your environment doesn't determine your destiny. When it's your time, when you've gone through the preparation process, get ready to be propelled. Don't quit being your best because you're not where you thought you would be. They got married, you're still single. They're in the new place, you're still in the old one. Keep doing the right thing. Your appointing is coming. You're going to come to the place where God says, all right, you're prepared. You've done your part. Now let me do my part. Let me propel you into your purpose.
Making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make. Learning those things that you don't like to do. But you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do, do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender and say, okay, all right. I cooperate. Okay, I learned. Okay. They had to wear me out a long time. So if it's hard, then do it hard. Now, how do you hang in there during the hard, difficult times? Les, you must have faith. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas, unquestionably. You've got to have faith, and that faith gives you patience. That it's not going to happen as quickly as you want it to happen. A lot of things are going to happen that will catch you off guard. And so therefore you've got to deal with and handle it as it comes. And not only that, but that faith and patience drives you into action. You've got to keep moving and keep plugging away. In the Far East, they have something that's called the Chinese bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years to grow. They have to water and fertilize the ground where it is every day. And it doesn't break through the ground until the 5th year. But once it breaks through the ground, within 5 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. Now the question is, does it grow 90 feet tall in 5 weeks or 5 years? The answer is obvious. It grows 90 feet tall in 5 years. Because at any time, had that person stopped watering and nurturing and fertilizing that dream, that bamboo tree would have died in the ground. And I can see people coming out talking to a guy out there watering and fertilizing the ground that's not showing anything. Hey, what you doing? You've been out here a long time, man. And the conversation in the neighborhood is, you growing a Chinese bamboo tree, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Well, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see ain't nothing showing. You know that's how people are going to do you? So how long you been working on this? How long have you been working on your dream? It's good. And you have nothing to show. This is all you got to show.
You can't quit now. And the only way out is through.
I hope you know that our world wants to put some labels on you. Our world wants to try and tell you who you are. But you can't listen to the world. You can't have a faith that's dictated by the world. You got to have a faith that dictates this world. The enemy's going to try to label you. You're a loser. You're a failure. Your past is too big. But you better know who you are.
You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
You need to hear this loud and clear. You need to get this in your spirit, because I don't know what you're walking through, but some of you right now, you are in a tough season. An event has happened, and something's happened, and maybe you have failed. But I want to remind you that failure is not final, it's formative. It is part of the process. It's part of the journey. Your failure matters as much as your success. How do you think you're going to grow if you don't ever fail? Yet some of you have failed and you have decided, well, guess what? I'm a failure. No, failure is an event. It is never a person. Just because you failed doesn't mean that you're a failure. In fact, failure is actually fuel for your future. You have to fail in order to succeed. The darker the night, the brighter the morning. This too shall pass. You're going to get through this thing.
So don't stress out about it, and don't you dare turn around and go back home.
Don't back down from the pressure. Get back up. Don't quit. Keep the faith. Move forward. Never, never, never give up.
You are not a victim, so stop talking like it. Stop acting like it. It's your trial. It's your tribulation that's going to get you out your comfort zone. It's your trial. It's your tribulation that's going to take you to the next level. So listen to me. It ain't no shame in thinking about quitting. It ain't no shame. It ain't no shame in getting tired. It's no shame in feeling burnt out. It's no shame. But the trick is, say to yourself, I got to rethink it and get this thought out of my mind. Why? Because the shame is in quitting. So if you thought about it, there ain't nothing wrong with that. But whatever you do, don't let that thought become a reality.
Ring the bell, and you no longer have to wake up at 5 o'clock. Ring the bell, and you no longer have to be in the freezing cold swims. Ring the bell, and you no longer have to do the runs, the obstacle course, the PT, and you no longer have to endure the hardships of training. All you have to do is ring the bell to get out. If you want to change the world, don't ever, ever ring the bell.
I have to shut it all out. The noise, it's loud. You have to cancel out the noise and remember that it's your thoughts that matter.
I'm young, I'm handsome, I'm fat, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
This is my moment for me.
You will learn more about yourself, you'll learn more about relationships, you'll learn about life and principles, and it'll build your character.
So if you're willing to decide what you want, believe it's possible, consciously envision the future, feel the feelings of what it would feel like if you had achieved this goal, you can have anything, and then you take action.
I am the greatest.
Even though I was having these troubles at home, and even though I had no job, no, you know what I mean, or whatever, didn't know what I was doing. If it didn't happen, it didn't happen, but I still was able to feel like it was. Isn't it like a kid would use his imagination? I was basically just using my imagination.
Some people can see farther than others. We all live in our own world of limitations. Some people can see farther than others.
I have a big vision. I put a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifice in things I do. If I don't do it, it means I don't believe in it. In this I believe very strong, and I will not give up until I'm top of the world. So that's the way it works. You aim for the top, you don't aim for the second. Second place is the first place among the last ones, and that's not my target.
I try to do it almost every day. This is why I'm in the top level many years. Because I do it extra outside. When I'm 12 years old, most of the people told, Christian, you are a very good talent player, but you are very skinny, very slim. And I put it in my mind, the body we can improve. You can improve. You go to gym, dedication and hard work, you can improve. So I'll improve myself.
A lot of times people believe in certain things, but they keep to themselves. They don't put it out there. You truly believe in it. If you become vocal with it, you are creating that law of attraction, and it will become reality.
I want you to see yourself doing what you want to do, experiencing what you want to experience it.
Now, here's the thing. Couple things. You got to make a decision. Listen to me. You got to make a decision. What's the decision? What's the thing you came here for? Now we're at the moment. The clock is ticking. People say all the time, hey, life is short. Let me tell you something. Life can be long. You bury your dreams. You quit this. Life gets long. See, time's relative. 2 minutes of you being with your sweetie, doing whatever you like to do with them, that can go by quick, right? What's about the last 2 minutes on a treadmill? Does that not seem like it goes by for like 4 hours, right? So if you're enjoying it, it's short. If it's painful, it's long. Life can be long. You want a life that feels like it's flying by. You want a life like I have right now where I go, can I just press pause? Can I just press pause? It's so good. It's so great. It's so rewarding. It's so awesome. But I don't really want to press pause because I know it can get better. So what's the decision? What have you been sitting on? What is it? Is it, people are texting me, hey Ed, I submitted my resignation last night. I'm coming full time. I walked away from a 6-figure job. Is that the decision? Is it the decision to finally get serious? Is it the decision to get licensed? Is it the decision to stop worrying about what people think? Is it the decision to become a great closer? Is it the decision to something in a relationship you have you need to get out or into? It's only a thought if you don't take an action. The difference between a thought and a decision is an action. So we know, and you just decided, and you know what it is. You know what it is. You will have really decided if within this next hour you took some step towards it. Something. A note you write, a text you send, a decision you've made, something you do that you follow up with the action to make it real.
So he comes down to the Jordan. This time it's the Jordan, not the Red Sea. The conditions have changed, but it's still the same thing. The water is the obstacle. And he comes down to the water with the promise of God. And he comes to the Jordan River and nothing happens. This is the moment. This is the moment that proves the authenticity of his leadership. This is the moment that he gets the public validation of a majestical move of God that shuts every mouth as to the authenticity of his calling. And he comes down to the brink of the swelling Jordan, and nothing happens. And the priests are behind him, and the people are behind him, and the promise of God is before him, and nothing happens. What do you do when it's your moment and nothing happens? What do you do after fighting to get to the door and you finally get to the door and nothing happens? What do you do when it's your moment and it doesn't work? This text is not about what worked. It's about what didn't. If God was going to do with him what he did with Moses, he should have gotten to the edge of the Jordan, raised up his rod, and the waters went hither and thither. He walked to the edge of the swelling Jordan, and nothing happened. Can you imagine what the crowd was saying behind him? Can't you almost feel the beating of his heart and the rushing of blood to his face, because he has told him that God was with him? And still there is no move from heaven. There is no wind. There is no blowing. There is no water parting. Everything is acting as if he had no anointing at all. It is in this moment that he must decide what you must decide right now. This moment in your life that you have come down to a critical point and nothing is happening, you have to decide, are you going to tuck your tail and turn your head and go back? Or are you going to step down into the water? Now God said, as I was with Moses, so shall I be with you. But he didn't say, I'm going to do with you what I did with Moses. He just said, I'm going to be with you as I was with Moses. So he had to step down into the water. My God, look at his faith. Suppose nothing happens.
When I think about the three pillars of something that would be your anchor, a foundation to drive you into the future, to live a big dream, to live a big life, a mindset, what you think about, you bring about. You know, as a man thinketh, so is he. Dr. Carter G. Woodson said that if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. If there's no door, his very nature will demand one. And I think that in many cases, governments and religious institutions have really unwittingly crushed the dreams and aspirations and the visions that people had of themselves. Not all, but a lot of them. And I think it's incumbent upon the individual to take responsibility, to develop yourself, to expand your mind and your vision, to seek out experiences. You know, Helen Keller said life should be a daring adventure, it's boring. And start to dream. What do you want? What do you really want for your life? I remember going to Auschwitz and walking down the halls in in the Nazi German concentration camps and seeing the pictures of men and women who had dreams. And these people were exterminated. And one of the things that I heard in my mind when I reflected on a book written by Viktor Frankl, who was there, he said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. And he talked about the people who were able to survive the inexpressible cruelties of Nazism, those who either believed in God or had someone that they loved that they were determined to see, or some cause bigger than themselves. And in my case, my goal was to buy my mother a home. That was my big dream. And that caused me to read things and to listen to things, to fuel my imagination. And then to develop my skills to becoming a voice of influence. And the other thing that's important is creating a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. And it started with a man, Mr. Washington, who said, a high school teacher, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. It could start with one person, and then it goes from there. I started associating with people who were doing what I wanted to do. I joined a multi-level marketing group called Best Line Products. When I heard the voice of a guy that when he spoke, it seemed like he was talking to me. I was in a hotel at a convention, and Bill Bailey spoke, and he was selling this dream. I didn't even know the products, but I wanted to be a part of it. And what I found, and one of the great things about multi-level marketing, is that it puts you in a community of other like-minded people. I think that's the value and the power of associations of different kinds. Associating with people who share your values, associating with people, like-minded people, who have dreams, who have goals that they're working on, and being in that community.